I find this video very, very interesting about the Connected Kingdom. England, Britain has a lot of advantages that could make it a huge internet industry capital. And as you see from my accent, I wasn't born here, but I've come to the UK to work, and I work in the internet field. I think there are some definite strengths. There's a strong consumer base, people who like to shop online. The transit system is trash, which really actually helps the internet because people want to have things delivered. They are finding more and more that they can't reliably get from point A to point B on the roads or in the trains, which is actually going to be an advantage because, British are having to learn to work virtually. They're English-speaking country located centrally, temporally in the world, so large virtual globalized internet projects can be run in the morning. They can be interacting with as far as Hong Kong or India. In the evening, they can go all the way into San Francisco. So if anything makes sense to be sort of a hub of a globalized internet network, it really actually is London as a real-time running hub, whereas San Francisco's problem is that the working day in San Francisco is the evening for so much of the productive work, particularly in India and China. It makes it a good center of productive creativity. Things that I hope happen over the UK are the internet development. And one of the things about the internet is it's a new kind of business metaphor where the old kind of ideals of deregulation, uninvolved government, things like that actually don't particularly work. The internet needs highly educated people to work in it, which means better schools with much more sophisticated facilities than just books and chalkboards, but technology, technical institutions, getting children in. It needs a lot of wiring and cabling, which will often involve, particularly if you want to cover the whole country, government or partial government investment. The internet itself is an invention of the United States military. It's a government project originally overall. There's also another key issue that how can this internet economy become, it has risks of boom and bust that we've already seen. The internet economy, since it's producing digitalized things, has proven that it also is very prone to bust cycles. We've seen two horrific busts due in large extent because of the internet. One is on speculation of dot-com economies in the late 1990s, which led to a recession. Those of us who are in IT remember a recession at the beginning of this century. We're now reaping the benefits of how many people dropped out of the IT industry, and we're seeing our wages and demands go up. But there was the IT market in the late 1990s led to a boom because it was very hard to value IT companies, which it still is very hard to value them. We also saw, I believe, in 2008, the speed of internet transactions on the web were so fast that it meant that garbage funds, derivatives based on subprimes, could get spread all over the world. So, despite the song and the nice graphics and my own strong belief in it, there definitely are risks involved. And if anything, there's the internet really demands that we step back from deregulation that was used to sort of pump blood into the manufacturing industry in the late 70s, and to be safe, go on the side of overregulation. That really is how I see the internet economy needs to work. The government needs to step in and start regulating transactions via the internet, regulate financial investments in the internet, regulate internet companies' ability to go into the sell stock. We need to really rework with regulation because we're dealing with something that's new and faster, and it's probably best to over-regulate it first, and then in time we could potentially deregulate when we understand what's going on more and more. Another area that the UK economy particularly will have to deal with is its own culture, engineering culture, which in a way I think may stand in the way of innovation. The UK is very good at carrying out large, well-defined internet projects, particularly using technology that's developed in the United States and coded in India. Changes probably need to be weighed the very hierarchical, bureaucratic way in which business is run and IT is run, so that the UK can take a larger piece of the actual writing the code and designing the products. I mean, what we're seeing right now is that the UK is an excellent consumer base, a fantastic consumer base, and a fantastic headquarter and center for the internet. What it also needs to become is it needs to become a very, very good production center for new technology. We need new internet companies forming here. I really see much more in the United States of new startups willing to go. I mean, to be honest, I work in the internet IT all the time, and I almost never encounter a UK-based startup. Almost all the startups I encounter are actually San Francisco companies that got big enough that they can offer an offices in the UK. There are some exceptions I meet, and I don't think this is to do with tax or anything like that. I think this really has to do with the way that the UK views the internet. I think there's still too much of a culture of it being viewed in engineering in the tradition of heavy industry like trains and bridges and things like that involve lots of documentation and hierarchical production, and this is preventing or making it difficult for more agile processes of development and production to go on. Whereas the United States and India, the United States, probably more so India, I think Indian culture is agile by definition, seem to be much better at adapting the less defined, less restrained production processes that work much better in this kind of uncertain, very, very fast. So I'm kind of, on one hand, I'm saying culturally there needs to be more opening up, and but on the other hand, economically, I think we really do need to look at really regulating this internet economy more than we regulate other ends. I think too many people say, well, it's just bits and bytes. There's, how's it going to hurt anyone? I think it's really going to hurt, and more than just intellectual property, which seems to be the only thing that people are concerned about regulating. I mean, we definitely really need to regulate the kind of financial risks that are going on with this, and also really kind of the dark factors that could be applied on the internet.